All right. Good evening. Welcome to our final live session for Module 3. Tonight, we're going to wrap up this module with, of course, some reminders. We have a speed round of Kahoots. You guys already know what that means. We're going to be 10 seconds multiple choice, 5 seconds true and false. I want to allot some time for those who still haven't had the opportunity to take the survey. So it'll be survey slash break. And then when we come back, I'm going to break down some key pointers for you guys as you're going into this final exam. And that's mainly because a lot of what you've learned has been, of course, a whole lot of different new information. And sometimes it's harder to kind of connect it when you haven't been in the lab yet. So I just want to kind of point out some key points that you guys can kind of look at, some different triggers as you're taking this final exam, because it's not just about this exam. This information in module 2 again builds into module 4 that takes you into the lab, that takes you to clinicals, and so on and so on. All right. Um, and then we'll wrap it up. So again, friendly reminder, 20 September 2025 at 11:59, that final exam is going to close. And I know I sound like a broken record, but I just don't want y'all to get in a situation where, oh my goodness, I missed it. That doesn't mean to right after tonight's live session, unless you want to try to rush and take it. I just want y'all to kind of set yourselves up for success mentally, physically, emotionally, so that you are comfortable and confident as you walk into that final exam. Okay. Now, on your study guide, there was the link for the Quizlet. I want to just give it to y'all again here so that you have it in the chat. For those of you who are watching the archive, I'm gonna go ahead and place that for you as well. Again, this is just additional resources or an additional resource to use as you're gearing up for this final exam. You'll also notice that I'm going to try to get these done as you guys finish your finals. But with the 4 classes, sometimes it's a little bit hard to juggle. I will do my best. That does not mean, again, that you have to jump in and take that final. Okay. I don't want you to be rushing. I really want you to feel comfortable, confident, relaxed as you go in there. Okay. Now, you guys might not know this. I'm a Trekkie. Okay. Don't judge me or judge me. It's okay. Um, one of my favorite episodes had to deal with the future of medicine. Okay. I want you to think about where we are and where we could go. So we're going to take a quick look at this 2-minute clip, kind of break up the monotony before we get into Kahoot. And think about, are we close? Was this just Hollywood? Or is this something that could potentially happen? So sit back, relax, and let's watch this quick clip on the voyage home.
Strict orders, not to
Damn it, do you want an acute case on your hands? This woman has immediate postprandial upper abdominal distension. Out of the way, get out of the way.
What did you say she's got?
Cramps.
Who are you? Why aren't you masked? Who are these people?
I don't know.
What the hell is that? What are you doing?
Tearing of the middle meningeal artery.
What's your degree in? Dentistry?
How do you explain slow impulse, low respiratory rate, and coma?
Fundoscopic examination.
Endoscopic examination is unrevealing in these cases.
A simple evacuation of the expanding epidural hematoma will relieve the pressure.
My God, man. Drilling holes in his head's not the answer. The artery must be repaired. Now put away your butcher knives and let me save this patient before it's too late.
I'm gonna have you removed.
Doctor, such unprofessional behavior. Into that little room, please.
What is that? You a gun?
This is crazy.
Please,
What is
leave this.
this guy?
I have no idea.
He melted the lock.
Dealing with medievalism here. Chemotherapy. Fundoscopic examinations. Come on, Chekhov, wake up. Bob, can you hear me? He's coming around, Jim. Pavel, talk to me. Name, rank.
Chekhov. Pavel. Rank. Admiral.
Tracy Phillips, Dr. Clark, call the operator.
How's the patient, doctor?
He's gonna make it.
You came in with a sheet.
One little mistake.
Now, I bring this up because I often think about medicine 100 years ago, 40 years ago, to where we are today. Now, granted, I know it's Hollywood, but do you think that could potentially be a possibility in the future where they think that us sticking our hands and body parts and actually operating that way is barbaric? What do you guys think?
I think it could happen in the future with all the technology and stuff and how they, trying to,
Hmm.
um, make babies born in wombs from. So I think it's
Yes.
very possible.
Yes, I concur. I definitely concur, especially with how we're already using a lot of robotics. We're still needed because there's certain things that they just need us, okay? But technology is moving so fast to where a lot of surgeons, and once you guys get in the operating room, and if you do have the opportunity to learn robotics, it is a really good skill. You'll see where your surgeon sometimes is in the room, sometimes they're not, and it really looks like they're playing a video game where they'll be hooked up and they're looking through a screen controlling the machine that's working in the body. And granted, that's our time. With, like Deja said, with technology, there are no bounds, right? So I always kind of show that to kind of like think, where could we go from where we are? Okay. Could be, I mean, we have robots assisting surgeons. Would you say robots are more supplemental? At this point, they're more supplemental. Yes, they are not necessarily replacing personnel. Um, they, and once you actually get into one of those cases, you'll see exactly what I mean. So we went from all open cases, right, where we took a knife, we're going down, we're just all open. Then we went more laparoscopically, cystoscopy, arthroscopies, right, where still a lot of human connection with the surgeon actually sticking the items into the body parts, to where now robots being more of a supplement where it's helping with just a lot more precision when it comes to suturing inside when you're doing different neuro cases, urology cases, even GYN cases. So no, not yet. I like how you said that. Not yet. um and great point. Okay. Now, again, I just kind of want to set the stage, okay? Because this is going to be a speed round for Kahoot. We've done it before, but today it's going to be really more important because I want to really hone in on my test takers who do second guess themselves a lot, and I am one of them. So you'll notice that again, I set the timer from your multiple choice questions to 10 seconds and 5 seconds for your true and false. Now, again, this isn't to stress you out. It's to kind of help train your instincts. You're going to hear a lot once you get into the lab in 3 weeks or, module four, about muscle memory. And your brain is also a muscle. Now, in the real exam, you have plenty of time. About what, 45 minutes for 60 questions? That's less than about a minute per question. Again, we're going to be moving a lot faster on purpose because you're going to be able to practice trusting your first response. Now, when you know your material, which you guys do, your first instinct is usually always right. Trust me. Again, I'm one of those people that second guesses. But with quick timing, we're going to help to try to avoid that second guessing of yourself into the wrong answer. Because a lot of times we'll mark the wrong or erase the right answer and check the wrong answer just because we were like, wait, oh my goodness, I don't know. Um, I want you to think of this as a workout. Okay. It's going to strengthen your exam reflexes. Okay. If you can handle this Kahoot pace, which you're going to be able to, the actual exam will feel comfortable, manageable. It'll feel like a breeze. So Don't think of the timer as pressure, because that's another thing that we kind of do to ourselves. Like we see the timer and we're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I've only got. Don't think of it as a pressure. Think of it as practice trusting what you know. Okay. If you can answer in Kahoot, you'll be even more ready for that final exam. Okay. So let's get into it. Classic mode. Now, for those of you who cannot get in, like you're driving, you're doing something else, I do not want you to text and drive. You can kind of just like watch. If you are not able to join, then you can type it in. Okay, like red, blue, or even the answer. And it is taking forever. Hold on, I'm not sure why it's taking forever. Let's close this one out and let me get the other link. See if it works faster. Again, technology. See how we have to, so they still need us. So if for some reason Kahoot's not working, I have the questions. It looks like Kahoot's not working. So I'll go ahead and ask them. Okay. Now I don't have a 10-second timer, but we'll just try to go. Like if you know the answer, go ahead and kind of type it in. Okay. Because Kahoot's not working. All right. Ready? What is the first step in pre-sterile field procedures? A, proper hand scrubbing. B, gowning and gloving. B, gowning. C, gloving. D, preparing the OR. First step in pre-sterile field procedures. I got a correct answer. It is A, proper hand scrubbing. That is the first thing that we do. We pre-scrub. Okay, we just make sure everything's clean. Okay, question 2. For frozen section tissue specimens, how is tissue typically frozen? A, chemical preservatives. B, using freezing methods like liquid nitrogen. C, formalin. Or D, using heat sterilization. B. Okay. All right. Couple more. When draping the OR table, how should the drapes be handled? A, allowing the edges to hang loosely. B, pulling the drapes tightly to ensure full coverage. C, handling the edges and the corners carefully to maintain a sterile field. Or D, placing them loosely to avoid movement. It is C. Good job. Number 4, which of the following factors influences steam sterilization outcomes? Okay, now we're going way back to weeks 1 and 2. Is it A, time, temperature, moisture? B, chemical concentration only? C, airflow within the operating room? Or D, humidity levels in the patient room? Remember, what are we talking about? What are we? Yes, A. Good job. And I'm trying to read fast like I'm Kahoot. All right, number 5. What are the classifications of surgical instruments? A, critical, non-critical, semi-critical. B, critical, clean, contaminated. C, semi-critical, low risk, high risk. Or D, non-critical, ultra clinical, or ultra low. I don't even know what ultra low is. Yes, A, that is correct. Number 6. Which type of disinfectant is most effective against bacterial spores? Okay, remember what spores, those are those tough to kill. Is it A, high level disinfectants, B, low level disinfectants, C, antiseptics, or D, alcohol based hand sanitizers? Yes, it is high level. Remember, spores are the hardest things to kill, so you want something that's going to be just as strong to kind of kill the spore. Okay, 2 more. 7, what is the purpose of patient positioning during surgery? Is it A, to ensure optimal surgical access and patient safety? B, to reduce surgical time? C, to make the surgical team comfortable? Or D, to minimize the use of surgical drapes? It is A. I'm noticing I put a lot of A's. All right. Number 8, our last question. When donning PPE, what is the correct order of putting on surgical attire? Is it gown, gloves, mask, cap? Gloves, B, gloves, gown, cap, mask, cap, mask, gown, gloves, or gown, mask, gloves, cap? Now, I want you to think about going into the actual field. Okay. Some things you're already going to have on. And I don't see it yet. Some things you're going to already have on. The other things is getting sterile. So out of all of these, you're going to have your surgical scrubs on and your hair cap. That is going to be the first things you put on, because when you can't walk into the semi-sterile area without a hair cap. And I know this is hard because you haven't practiced it yet, but you're about to. So just remember, cap, then your mask goes on. One of the first things you do before you open up your room is put on your mask. So your cap's already going to be on. Then you're going to put on your mask, and then you're going to do the scrub or the antiseptic rug, depending on where you are. And then you're going to don your gown and gloves. Does that make sense now? And I know it's hard because I want you to kind of picture it like you're coming into the operating room. For a fact, close your eyes right now. Okay. You are going into the locker room. Okay. You have on your street clothes. You're putting on your surgical scrubs first. Before you can even cross that red line, you got to grab a hair cover because you don't want any of your hair flying everywhere. You go check the board to see where your room is. You grab your mask. Okay. Because you're getting ready to open up your room. Can't open your room without your mask. Then you're going to do your surgical scrub, put on your gown first, and then your gloves. Cap, mask, gown, gloves. Okay? Cap, mask, gown, gloves. Okay, awesome. All right. Now, for those of you who have not had the opportunity, I know life is lifing, to complete the survey, here is the link. For those that you have, for those that you that have, go ahead and take a break. When we come back, I am going to break down some of what you guys saw in the study guide, but I want to give you really good hints as you guys are going through to take that test, because just like with the cap, mask, gown, gloves, it's a little bit harder when we haven't put it into practice. And I really want to make sure these concepts are honed in for this final exam. So take a break or complete the survey. And then when we come back, we're going to hone in on this final exam before we wrap everything up. Okay. Now, the next couple slides, I'm really just diving into this final. Okay. Granted, I try to take as many times as I can so I could capture as many questions as I can. But as you know, it's still going to be randomized. Okay. Now, there's some key reminders. Okay. Patient safety drives everything that we do. It's the why behind every checklist, every count, and every step. When we skip a rule or let's say cut a corner, it's not about really convenience, it's about risk. So when you see certain questions, I want you to kind of think about that. Always ask who or what am I actually protecting? For this exam, and then of course in practice, you're not going to just memorize steps. Remember, it's going to be your muscle memory. Okay. And when you think, how would this apply if something unexpected happened in surgery, which unfortunately sometimes things do happen. Okay. So we get into sponge counts and best practices. Keep in mind that counts are never going to be just you by yourself. Okay. They're going to require two people verifying together to make sure there's some type of accountability. Silence equals risk. If you don't say it out loud, your partner cannot confirm it and the team cannot document it. So you always ask yourself, who is my partner in this count? Is it your circulator? Is it your other scrub and your circulator? Is it two circulators and you? And you'll know what I mean once you kind of get and you're starting to relieve each other from cases. And why speaking aloud is a safety barrier for your patient. So when we're counting, we're not like just grabbing our Ratex and we're like one, two, three. We're like literally one, two, three. Or like when the case is going, I'm like one on the field, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10, and I'm showing my circulator. Okay. If a count is off, I want you to think about the very first step you should take and why that step is so important for patient safety. Remember, we're going to always recount. Okay. Instruments and retractors in smaller, delicate procedures like a carpal tunnel, where we're just cutting into the wrist right here. It's a smaller case. Uh, we'll use the right retractors. We're not going to use a big Army Navy in this area. Okay. You may use a sin rake. You may even use a hook. All right. Um, it provides exposure without damaging. Think about how big an Army Navy is. Look closely at the instrument's designs. Is it handheld, self-retaining? What does its size tell you about the use? That's going to be really big. And always compare similar retractors as you guys are going through your studies. Sometimes it's small little differences that are going to stand out. It's always going to be important on what makes one better suited for a given procedure than another. And this is going to be really important once you guys start getting into surgical procedures in Module 4. Now, forceps versus scissors. This is big. Names can be misleading. Not everything listed in a question is truly a forcep. That's something to kind of think about. The best way to distinguish them is to kind of connect the name with the function. Does it grasp or does it cut? Mayo suture scissors, Mayo Hager dilators. Different. One's dilating, one's scissors. The one question, grasp or cut, is going to save you on instrument ID questions. Okay. CST roles and responsibilities. Think of our role in 3 phases: before, during, and after surgery. So we have our pre-op, we're setting the stage, room, supplies, we're getting things in order, we're moving furniture, we're putting our instruments on our trays to prepare to open them. Okay, and then we're opening, we're gouting and gloving, and we're scrubbing. That's all pre-operative because the case hasn't started yet. Interoperative, we are anticipating the move of the surgeon. We are giving them the items that they need. If we're superficial, we're going to probably start off with some AdSense, maybe some Mets. Always have those up. Bovie, Raytax, things like that. And post-operatively, We're looking at safety and correctly removing our gown and gloves in the right sequence because one, we don't want to take anything home to our families, and two, we want to avoid contamination. And we also ask, when exactly does my responsibility shift from one phase to the next? Okay. You may have some concepts, or there are a couple questions that I was able to see to kind of grab and look at. With that, you're going to see some sterile techniques and safety questions. Okay. Sterile margins exist for a reason. The edges of packages, tables, high risk zones. Keep in mind that only the top of the table is actually sterile. Now, I say this because you're going to see things in the field, but when it comes to the book, I always want you to refer back to your book. Okay. And I'm already seeing things in my mind that I know you guys are going to see and be like, oh my gosh, that's not in the book. When it comes to the exam, always come back to the book. Okay. The sides and the edges are not safe for instruments or supplies. Dressing sponges are special. They come in late. Remember, if they don't have that radiopaque strip, you don't want to have them up early because they could get lost in the patient's body. Think about when they should be introduced to the field. Okay. Would we do it while the body, like let's say we're doing a big old abdominal procedure and we're still in there? Would you, and you guys can say yes or no, would you go ahead and ask for your dressings at that time? Keep in mind, there is no radiopaque anything on our dressing sponges. What do you guys think? Right, that's right. So keep that in mind. Sometimes you have to kind of think about what's going on in the case. And I know y'all, that's your next phase, but we're building it up. So by the time when you guys get to Mrs. Hughes, y'all are going to be like, we know, we got this. And then when you get in the lab, you're going to feel even more confident and then it's going to all click. It's like the pieces are going to fall into place. I promise you, trust the process. Okay. Keep asking, what small habits prevent big contamination risks? Okay. Now, in emergencies, your role may actually shift. Your job is support, supply, assist, maintain your sterile field if you're the first scrub. Because keep in mind, we're scrubbed in. There's still got to be somebody there protecting that field. Because eventually, once everything subsides, either we're going to break down or they may need us to come back to help close. For example, during a stat C section, some routine steps may be slightly modified or even omitted, but not all. Patient safety still um, is the rule for every single decision that we do in the operating room. You have to ask yourself, under pressure, what steps are absolutely non negotiable for patient safety? Okay, and the last one that I kind of grabbed deals with processing and sterilization. And again, I know that's back in week 1. Now, instruments with lumens, remember that's the ones with the kind of have the hollow center, need special care to avoid air pockets, which can actually block sterilization. There is preparation steps that ensure steam reaches every single part of the lumen. I want you to think about what solution helps achieve that. Ask yourself, how do I guarantee sterilization is complete and effective in every instrument? Remember, there are internal, external, and BI indicators. Some tells you that parameters for sterilization have met the inside. Some let you know that parameters for sterilization have met the outside of the package. And there's only one way that we actually verify that sterilization has taken place. Make sure you guys are looking that up, okay? And finally, do not forget, every procedure and technique is about safety and accountability. I want you guys to start using all this techniques that you've been getting this entire module. When in doubt, ask, why is this step important for the patient? Now, I do have a little special thing to kind of share with you guys. Now, before we wrap up, I do want to pause for something reflective. Um, if you'd like, take out a piece of paper, your phone, notes, or save this for later. Okay, you're emailing a draft to yourself. I want you to create, and this isn't for me, this isn't that you have to turn in, but this is for you. I want you guys, or I encourage you guys to create a private time capsule. Write a short note to your future self. In it, include three things: the most important things that you've learned in this course, your favorite memory or a moment from the class, and your actual academic or career goals. Keep in mind, this note is just for you. No one else will see it. And when you finish, set a calendar reminder to kind of alarm yourself a year from now to read it back. That way, your future self will get to see how far you come. That's just something that I encourage you to do. Again, you don't have to. With that, for those of you that are watching the archive, why do you think surgical tech or surgical teams emphasize repeating steps out loud even when everyone already knows the process? How does your understanding of the design and purpose of an instrument help you to distinguish it from other similar instruments? And in emergency situations, what factors should guide which steps that can be modified or omitted, and which ones can never be skipped? Now, Module 4 brings you guys new opportunities for discovery and growth. It may feel like, okay, we're in the final stretch, but I encourage you to approach it with the same focus and determination that you guys have shown so far. I want you to trust in your knowledge that you've gained, the skills that you're going to be developing. It's going to guide you through what lies ahead. But I also want you to remember success isn't going to come from like, oh my goodness, I'm not going to do this particular case, but from kind of like rising and building up your confidence and your persistence. I want you to believe in yourselves and know that you actually have what it takes to succeed. I do want to congratulate all of you guys. I am humbled to have been able to be with you these last two modules. But I'm not gone. If you still need my support, I am here. If you have any questions, you guys can still email me. You can still text me. But I want you guys to take care, keep pushing forward, and remember that you guys are pretty smart and you've got this. With that, that's all, folks. Please have, it's like the last, this is crazy. Please have a wonderful rest of your evening, a wonderful break. Until next time, good night.